which she also lights each Sunday and takes a moment to send her thoughts and care to all of us here. May this sabbatical be fruitful for us all, and may our reunion be a joyful fulfillment. Now let's take some time to greet one another here in the meeting house, saying hello to our pew mates, making some connections, waving, bowing, whatever, however you feel to do it. Good morning, Greg.
Hey, Jim. It's good to see you. Thank you. All right.
And now let's turn and face the cameras in the back and greet those who are watching on YouTube. Good morning. Welcome to everyone. We'll now join together in reciting our covenant, which is also found in your order of service. We, the members of the First Unitarian Church of Providence, with respect for the worth and dignity of each person, with wonder at the light we know by many names, and with gratitude for our deep connection to each other and to the larger web of existence, covenant to walk together in our search for truth, seeking the paths of wisdom, compassion, and justice. Our reading today is said to be a Chinese story, an ancient Chinese story, which may or may not be true about it, but the story was made well known by the 20th century English writer, speaker, and self-styled philosopher Alan Watts. A farmer and his son had a beloved stallion who helped the family earn a living. One day, the horse ran away. Upon hearing the news, the farmer's neighbors came to visit. Such bad luck, they said sympathetically. Maybe so, maybe not, the farmer replied. We'll see. A few days later, the horse returned, bringing with it 3 wild horses. How wonderful, the neighbors exclaimed. Maybe so, maybe not, said the farmer. We'll see. The next day, his son tried to ride one of the untamed horses. The wild horse threw him to the ground, breaking his leg. The neighbors came running to offer their sympathy. What terrible luck, they cried. Maybe so, maybe not, the farmer replied. We'll see. A few weeks later, military officials came to the village to draft young men into the army. Seeing that the son's leg was broken, they passed him by. The neighbors shouted, "Your boy is spared. What good fortune." Maybe so, maybe not, the farmer replied. We'll see. Our first hymn is number 350, The Ceaseless Flow of Endless Time. Please stand as you are able and join together our voices in singing. Number 350. We now hear the joys and sorrows of the people in our congregation as written in this book, which resides at the back of the meeting house. The beautiful candlestick for the large candle from which we light all our individual candles of joy and sorrow was carved by our partner church in Transylvania. We remember them with warmth this morning. A candle of love for my mom, who lost one of her best friends yesterday. A candle of healing for a dear friend, J.D. May he have a quick recovery. A candle of joy for the community we gather each Sunday in this sanctuary and beyond. Good morning to Alyssa Emerson, watching from Florida. A candle of happiness to her and luck. Friends, let us rest in gladness that we have each other to share our joys and sorrows. It makes all the difference. Now is the time when we spend a few minutes of silence together. During this silence, if you have lost someone close to you in the past year, you are invited to stand or raise your hand in silent witness of that loss. Please allow this short poem by Quaker abolitionist John Greenleaf Whittier to help prepare your heart and mind for this period of silence. And so I find it well to come for deeper rest to this still room. For here, the habit of the soul feels less the outer world's control. The strength of mutual purpose pleads more earnestly our common needs. And from the silence, multiplied by these still forms on either side, the world that time and sense have known falls off and leaves us with spirit alone. And now, we welcome our guest speaker, Lisa Rose.
It is so good to be with you. Aren't we a cozy bunch? So I believe that we all have our paths. Sometimes they're similar, sometimes not. And they often intersect with the paths of others, from a simple smile from a stranger on the street to relationships with friends, coworkers, family members that go on for years. And we have experiences, either alone or collectively, that add color to the landscape that surrounds us along the way. Art or nature can do that. It's the influence and our assimilation of what happens to us at those points of intersection with people and experiences of all kinds that form a feeling and memory about them, that causes us to make decisions, to take certain twists, turns, and detours along the way. So I'm just going to share a few of my most major experiences along my own path. I'm at the point where I have walked, run, even crawled enough of a distance to be able to look back and have some perspective. about where I've been, how I've processed the experience, and where I'm hoping to go. I grew up over the border in Stonington, Connecticut, in a family of 5, mother, father, 2 younger sisters. We were close in age, right in a row. Boom, boom, boom. Catholic. My mother and our family was very Catholic, and I had a Catholic education from first grade right up through graduate school, a choice that I made. It was a good experience for me. Our diocese was considered to be liberal Catholic. I know, an oxymoron. I graduated from St. Bernard High School with honors for excellence in religious studies. But later at my college, I was shocked to discover that the Ursuline sisters could wear stylish clothes, drink, and they smoked cigarettes. That part of my path was not even close to the liberal UU experience I have here, but I've often said that my personal Catholic experience led me to be the good UU I am today. That certainly wasn't their intent, but it led me to a future turn on my path. My mother was a scientist, a teacher, and a huge influence on this path. She wasn't easy, but she loved us like a mother bear. She turned out well-rounded, strong, and capable young women. I was lucky to have her in my life. An occurrence that influenced decisions that I made along my path was watching my parents' marriage crumble from the time I was about 7 until it ended in my middle teen years. Alcoholism is a family disease, and its violence affected us all profoundly. I threw myself into my schoolwork, music, books. My focus created the foundation for an excellent educational path and early work experience. The other path that it influenced was my relationships and the men I chose as life partners who turned out not to be partners for the long run. I was with my first husband for 5 years. I was with my second husband for 16. I was so fortunate to have my daughter, Sarah Rose, and my son, Daniel, from those unions. I learned so much about life and people and myself through those marriages and their ends. I became a stronger individual through that part of the path. And best of all, I'm grateful to have become a mother. It's the best, hardest, and most fulfilling job, a vocation really, that I've ever had. Looking back, it was my union with those husbands that brought me my children, so I'm grateful that we met and walked some time together. The year Sarah was born was 1988. I called the pastor of St. Anne's Catholic Church in Salem, Massachusetts, to discuss baptizing her. Of course, my mother had already come right after I brought Sarah home and secretly baptized her in the kitchen sink. No harm, no foul. We're going to make this official. The pastor was asking me some personal questions about my background, and all was going well, and then it happened. He responded to one of my answers by yelling at me for having been so imprudent as to have married a Jew. Wow. The deacon, well, we were allowed to baptize her, but that man never spoke to me again. The deacon performed the service for just us, her little family, and grandmother and aunties, without being witnessed or welcomed by the whole congregation, as is customary. It was a real slap in the face. He got that soul for the church, but rejected her father and me. So, I did some deep thinking about that and soon decided that I could not go on with a church that would support a leader who is so openly bigoted and hateful. At that fork in the road, I began to search for better ground to walk my spiritual path. And here I am today. I had sometimes cobbled together 3 to 5 part-time jobs while bringing up my children so I could be there when they needed me. Sarah had started her own life out in the world, and Daniel was starting high school. I decided that I could take the prerequisite courses and be ready to start nursing school as soon as Daniel would begin college. It would be a solid, rewarding career, would allow me to have a decent life and build a future for myself. Now it would be my time. I went through all that, and as he began his freshman year in 2014, I was getting ready to apply to nursing school. And bam, a meteor hit the path right in front of me. I was diagnosed with breast cancer without any warning, any family history, nothing. And a clear mammogram just months before that. Well, wasn't that going to require construction and a big detour in my path? I couldn't work now, had no income, but had a scary question mark about what the path ahead would be like. I want to tell you that my friends and some people I didn't even know that well at the time, several from this church, supported me with cards and calls and letters, rides to treatment, sitting with me through some of those treatments, food, and even money in no small sum, so that I could not only survive, but live. I will always remember every little bit of it with endless gratitude. I had great doctors and good care at Rhode Island Hospital Cancer Center as I went through chemotherapy, 25 radiation treatments, all the side effects of the treatments, a lumpectomy, and then the long process of recovery. My progress was good. I was even able to go back to work at the beginning of 2016. Okay, now I was on smooth ground. In June of 2017, another meteor hit my path. Bam. I had gone to have something that didn't feel right checked out, and yes, the breast cancer had hit again. Same side, just 6 months after that clear mammogram. PSA, get your regular mammograms done. This time, it was exponentially more difficult. The cancer was stubborn and it kept growing throughout the treatment until just before surgery. I went through it all again, the chemotherapy, the 25 radiation treatments. It's a wonder I don't glow. And an 11-hour surgery. And the recovery was beyond anything I could have imagined. I was also in and out of the hospital with all kinds of complications from the treatments. At one point, my oncologist, who doesn't have a poker face, came into my room. I looked at her. I said, "Don't you look at me like that. I am going to use my sense of humor and my fighting spirit, and I am going to get out of here, and I don't care if I have to dig myself out of my grave by my fingernails. I am going to be at that boy's college graduation." And I did. I look a little rough in the pictures, but I did it. And I'm happy to say that on August 6th, I will be dancing at his wedding. Again, I am beyond grateful to all of the friends, you know who you are, who through that time provided moral support and visits, food, rides, so much, even a place to live. They walked me through that all to the best of their ability when I was refusing to give up, crawling and even dragging myself through it. And let me not forget my son, Daniel. Even though he was in the senior year of a very difficult and demanding engineering degree, I would open my eyes and there he would be at my bedside. Often with the girl who's now his lovely fiance. And Sarah Rose came all the way from Nevada to visit me at the beginning of that second bout. So that was quite another leg of the journey with an unexpected twist. I learned so much along the way. I learned that even though I am soft on the outside, I am tough as nails on the inside when I need to be. I found out who my real friends and loved ones are, and the others just fell away. I'm resilient and was blessed with grace through the whole ordeal. I actually and acutely feel how much I am loved and how lucky I am. This life path, like yours, hasn't only been through a botanical rose garden. It's sometimes been tough and has required real mental, emotional, and physical work to keep going, and even just clinging to faith that some things shall pass. I've been left with a disability. I do the best I can every day. Do I like this compression sleeve? No. Do I like having to wear special compression garments? No. Do I like having to put on a compression suit and have it pump the lymph through my system every day? Not really. But it's the cost I have to pay to be here and to keep the pain down. It's just one small part of my path. Your path is both ordinary and extraordinary too. Think of the people you've met along the way. Think of the experience you've had, difficult, fabulous. What has influenced you to take this turn or that? How have you learned and grown? How do you feel about that and about where you are at this moment in your path? This has been my path so far. I believe I'm here for a reason that I'll be able to look back at and see clearly one day. The experiences and people along the way have brought me to where I am now. I've always been where I am supposed to be at that moment and for the next steps. I choose to focus on the good and plan for a happy future. This path has made me, and it's also what I make of it. It certainly has been interesting. You bet I'm going to walk it singing all the way, and I can't wait to see what's around the bend.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for your
you.
story, for sharing. It's really wonderful to hear you. Our next hymn is in the Teal hymnal. It's number 1064, Blue Boat Home. Please stand as you're able and join in singing. As a self-supporting congregation and a beloved, aspiring community, we rely on generosity and commitment to keep us vital and relevant. Our weekly offering is a manifestation of our faith and an opportunity to practice generosity and dedication in a small way that adds up to an important part of our capacity here at First U. We invite you to join in the spirit of love and open-handedness as the offering for the mission and vision of this church is now gratefully received. As always, thank you for all that you give, all that you are, and all that you do. Our offertory this morning is a song you may recognize, Teach Your Children, and we invite you to sing along if you know the words.
You who are on the road must have a code that you can live by, and so because of yourself, because the past is just a goodbye, teach your children well. Their father's help did slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams. The one they pick's the one you'll know by. Don't you ever ask them why. If they told you, you would cry. So just look at them and sigh, and know they love you. And you of tender years can't know the fears that your elders grew by, and so please help them with your youth. They seek the truth before they can die. Teach your parents well. Their children's hell will slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams. The one they pick's the one you'll know by. Don't you ever ask them why. If they told you, you would cry. So just look at them and sigh, and know they love you.
Thanks, Greg. Please join us after today's service for refreshments and fellowship in the breezeway behind the church. Next Sunday's service will draw upon the art of Irene Allen, a longtime member of First U, who shared so much of herself with this community, including many of her paintings, through which she sought to capture the energy and excitement and mystery of the universe. Join us as we share some favorite poems that have been paired with selected paintings from Irene's artistic legacy. We look forward to seeing you then. Be sure also to check our weekly email newsletter, First U Times, which is the single source for news, events, and everything that's happening here at First U. If you don't currently receive it, you can access it and sign up through our church website, or fill out a guest registry form at the welcome table in the meeting house. And now please join me in reciting the words found in your order of service as we extinguish the chalice. We carry the flame of peace and love and hope until we meet again.